Representative Wallace.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Representative Court, let me get this straight. What I'm hearing now is if I decided to participate in this fund or participate in this program, I could get the maximum amount of public money I could take is $5,000 because I'm a State House candidate.
Correct.
And then all of my other money would have to come from
anywhere.
I could get it from anywhere, but I'd have to get at least 0.1% from my House district.
You would have to get, oh, Madam Chair, thank you. You'd have to get at least 0.1% people within your House district, 65 individuals within your House district to give you $5 or more, to minimum $5, to qualify to get the $5,000. But let's say they only gave you $5 each, which is the minimum that's required in the bill. What's 5 times 65? Who's real good at fast math? I had that number in my head before, but it's gone now. Anyway, that would be the minimum amount of money that you would have to raise within your district. Then you would have to raise, according to the bill, $2,500 total from anywhere. Political action committees, small donor committees, your grandmother, anywhere. And if those 65 contributors are part of that base $2,500 amount, you would qualify for $5,000 from the voluntary pot, and that would be your match.
Representative Wallace. So really then the only restriction on this is that I agree to voluntary campaign finance limits.
Yes. Yes. Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Representative Waller. The other condition is that you do accept the spending limits in the Constitution in Amendment 27, which again is voluntary. The entire bill is voluntary, and Amendment 27 has a spending limit that is voluntary. And by the way, I accepted that during my campaign as well. And it changes, but it was 68.9 in the 08 cycle. So you accept that because the value I'm trying to create is less money going into political campaigns and having your constituents be at least your core group who want to see you elected. So that's it. Representative Wallace.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It doesn't seem like it does that to me, because it still sounds like I can take as much PAC money, as much small donor money as I want to, up to the spending limit.
Correct. You can.
Okay.
The thinking here was that a baby step in something as different approach as this is better than giant steps. And so I was just trying to make these statements and get the program going and see what happens. Frankly, if we passed it and we put this on the income tax checkoff, and 5 years from now there's only, $200,000 in the fund, we might wonder if Coloradans believe in this system. Whereas if there's $2 million in the fund, then we would think, oh, Coloradans believe in this system. So that was part of what I was thinking was, let's give it an opportunity to see if people like the idea. Again, it's 100% voluntary, both for where the money would come from to go into the pot and the candidates' participation.
And we do have 3 people who have signed up, 1 against, 1 neutral, and 1 for. So if you want to ask other questions of Representative Court now, we can, or we can wait till after testimony. Representative Grosso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Going on the list on the fiscal note, I know in finance we've had other checkoff programs come through there, so this is also would be competing against DARE and 211 on who's going to get put on there.
Thank you for bringing that up, Representative Del Grosso, and that is a glitch at this point in the session for my bill, because we do have competing checkoff items going through the process, and Leora is here to explain that to us. Evidently, and we probably need a whole separate bill to discuss this, because evidently in statute we are limited to 15 checkoffs at a time. But we have nothing in statute to tell us if in a given session we approve 4 new ones, how we determine among and between which ones should be first in line to be the 15th one, for example. So that could be a glitch that we would run into, and we don't seem to have a process in place right now in statute to tell us which one gets to be the 15th one if we only have one space available. Did I make sense? Yeah. So that's something, that's a corollary but kind of separate thing we'd have to figure out separately.
Representative Grosso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my understanding with the checkoff programs that you have to meet a certain requirement to stay on there.
Correct.
So as long as you're meeting a certain requirement, you're okay. But when somebody falls below, then that's when they get booted off, and that's why we have an opening this year. So, I mean, I just look at this as going to be competing against other, nonprofits or whatever, and potentially take somebody off there to put this on there. So.
Well, it wouldn't, Madam Chair, it wouldn't take anyone off. Anyone who is on is on. The question before us is whether or not, and again, it's a corollary conversation, whether or not we have a process in place to figure, if we pass 4 checkoffs this session and there's only one slot open because statute says only 15, then which of those 4 is the one that ends up on the form?
It's my understanding that to add extra on there, because we had this conversation in other committees, because obviously this year we talked about 2-in-1, we talked about DARE and other things, why can't we just make it bigger? And it's like, well, if you make it bigger, it's going to make the whole process, it's going to cost a lot more money to do.
Exactly. And that's what I said. It's a corollary but conversation, and we would have to change the statute related to the checkoff on the income tax form to deal with that. And I recognize that. I found that out kind of after the fact, frankly.
Are there other questions? Seeing none, we'll go right to testimony. Representative Court, do you have a preference?
Yeah, let's take the against first, the opposition first.
Joshua, come on down. Please state your name and welcome to State Affairs and who you represent.